So we enjoyed a fun little, I don't know, would you call this a filler or kind of a reset?
I think it's the job of cementing the plot that we're about to walk into.
I got you. Because most of it, I mean, we do get to see parts of it being, the journalist is interviewing people, but then we see the actual broadcast, and it's so different from what he shot. And yeah, of course, it has to be a good commentary on media literacy, government propaganda through the media. I like the commentary at the beginning where the reporter Dan Randall, which that's supposed to be it's supposed to sound like Dan Rather. Yeah. Anyway, Dan Randall makes a commentary on media. He's like, "There's no such thing as objective journalism. We just pretend that it is. Everybody has an agenda." And I thought that was clever because this is Jerry Michael Straczynski making a very good point that I agree with. There are no objective journalists. There are people who attempt to be objective, but like the overall idea and the pursuit is affected by people's biases, even implicit bias. So
yeah, I mean, it's really hard to especially like science is an example. You have peer reviews in order to take away the bias that can be there. Even when someone means well and doesn't mean to have a bias, you still gotta check other people.
Yeah,
you gotta compare and contrast, and theirs is based on the system that they're in and not the facts, because they ain't stating no facts.
Right.
Well, the place is Babylon 5. That was right.
There are aliens there.
Yeah. There are humans there.
Yeah.
They do have a medical facility, and there are cryogenic stasis.
Mm-hmm. There's a captain named Sheridan. Yeah. Like, if you state the facts, like, these are things that are there, but he's telling the story about he's weaving a narrative of what can be speculated is the agenda of Babylon 5 and Captain Sheridan. There's some fun little things that happen along the way to the broadcast. For instance, with Zach with his little dust up in the cargo bay, and they shoot open the cases, and then the camera comes out. And I thought this was interesting because they didn't use it in the broadcast, but when the camera pops up, it's like a little hover camera, which it looks exactly like the hover cameras from Star Wars. So bravo Babylon 5 for getting there first. Oh shoot. This aired 2 or 3 years before the prequel series too.
That's it?
Yeah, because the prequel series came out in 1999.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that long ago. I still call them the new one. I guess the other 3 are the new ones. The one with the grandson.
We don't talk about those. Those are something. Those are a fever dream. We'll just. Anyway, why did I bring up Star Wars? We're talking about Babylon 5. I don't need to talk about that series for a while. But they didn't use the footage of Zach and his crew pointing their guns at the camera, and I thought that was interesting. It's probably because Dan Randall really doesn't hate Babylon 5. He's not trying to paint them as like these vicious people, but he is twisting the truth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of real quickly, the sequence of events, because I just want to talk about like what the media is doing here. So Franklin is talking to Sheridan about the issue with the telepaths, because they still have a lot of shadow technology still in them, and they have to move them because the cryostasis pods need to be fixed or whatever. And so he's going to move them so they can get that problem taken care of. And Sheridan's like, okay, cool. They keep Dan Randall in. I keep thinking Dan Randall in the detention center, in the brig area. Cause you a journalist. We don't need you snooping around here. This is where Sheridan accuses ISN of being a propaganda machine, and Randall was like, yeah, that's what we do. And but he explains it's like, look, when the ISN building got stormed, and Clark took over and they started messing around with the truth, a lot of journalists quit, but some of us stayed around because we wanted to be able to affect and tell the truth. And he said, we slip it in little by little quietly while the big boys aren't paying attention. And I was just like, that is wild. So no matter what, they are still going to be used as the mouthpiece of propaganda for the government, but they're going to do it kind of in reverse to try to slip in pieces of the truth, which they did slip in one piece of information in that whole broadcast that I was just like, maybe that's what he's talking about. We'll get there.
I didn't catch.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. we get to see Garibaldi gets a nice long scene here.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking with a client about a lost statue, and this is a bigger gentleman who's pretending to cry over of losing his statue or whatever, and Garibaldi calls him out, and he's basically, you're trying to smuggle some stuff, you got this statue because it's big and it can hold some stuff, and don't lie to me, I'll get it for you, but admit the truth. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, sure, how much? And then they haggle over the price. It shows you how competent Garibaldi is when he decides that he wants to be, or how competent Garibaldi is when he's being mind controlled, because he knows how to do this stuff. He just doesn't do it for his actual job. Well, he's not security anymore, I guess. So
yeah. And we saw in last episode where he charged way too little, way less than usual for finding the guy's daughter.
Yeah.
So
oh yeah.
He's not completely asshole. He's not a complete asshole. He's an asshole somewhat like when it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
If you got an asshole to deal with, send that asshole to deal with it.
Right.
Fight fire with fire.
What breaks up that little moment for a brief second is Lanier. He mentions that he needs to find Garibaldi, and they're having a conversation back and forth, and Lanier's like, I didn't realize that you truly left. And Garibaldi says something I thought was really interesting, because remember, he doesn't believe in God. He uses these little euphemisms that kind of have like religious connotations to them. And I feel like maybe this is Straczynski using his snarkiness. You know what I mean? Because honestly, Garibaldi comes across as like a snarky, not really a boomer, but there's that 90s snark and sarcasm that comes through that is typically connected to Generation X,
He would be a boomer, right?
I think maybe he was born in the 60s. Yeah, maybe in the 90s he was in his 30s. So maybe.
So that makes sense. Yeah. Like if anyone's somewhat around my parents' age, I just assume.
Yeah. He tells Lanier, I served my time in hell. Now I get to do whatever I want to do. And Lanier is just like, what? He explains that to the Minbari, serving the community is an honor and there's no time limit to that. And whenever I hear Lanier talk like that, I'm just like, yeah, why do we have to treat everything like it's an occupation? Why isn't our livelihoods dedicated to making the world a better place? It's like, no, we're only going to do it when we get paid. We're going to do it during office hours.
But it also implies that him being chief of security was the only way he was helping people.
Right.
Whereas like I said in the last episode, he helped someone find their daughter, which is serving the community. He's serving the community directly now and not under an authority anymore. He's doing the exact same thing. Really.
I mean,
kind of.
He's being
not really.
He's putting his skills as being nosy to work.
Yeah.
And it's probably in all honesty, it's probably for everyone's good. It's probably for the best. Because he wasn't doing nothing when he was chief of security. Not really. He was, getting shot in the back, not finding people in time, nearly getting killed by an alien in down below, threatening people, trying to steal food from people, lying to women, being scared of women, breaking security protocol.
We have this I always used to have the same when I taught special ed that when a kid has a skill, they need to learn how to use it for good, not evil. Especially if you had a child that misbehaved, like one who's really smart, and you clearly see that they have intelligence, but they use that intelligence to just do stuff.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I used to have kids that would like create. They would stack things and try to climb them to get the things they weren't supposed to have. And I'm like sitting there looking at them, and then I just move the thing, and then they find another thing, and then they move that thing. I move that thing. Like you can clearly think. Just ask, man. Just ask for the crackers.
Yeah.
Like
Nah, they got a scheme. They have to put
they have to think.
those tools
I'm like,
for.
right. No, now let's motivate you to do it for good. Now, not crackers is not a bad thing, but I've had other kids plan and like they would wait to see if you're not looking
Oh yeah.
to smack another child
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because they know they're gonna get in trouble, and so
or take something out of somebody else's backpack.
yep.
Got some really nice parents that send some really nice snacks for their baby because they want them, and the other babies want it, and the other babies will speak. And if you not looking, and if you go having to like, if you're paying too much attention, teaching some other kids, and that one's free play, you may look up and they eating somebody else's.
Right. Their whole thing is, see, and this shows how some kids they don't have it all together, because they're like, if you didn't see me do it, I didn't do it. But it's like, look, you're the only one who could have done it. I applaud you for trying to be deceptive, but you're not smart. Like, there's a few more tools that we have that we can use to figure out, like, it's you. It's only you. Anyway, Garibaldi has that brief conversation with Lanier, and we learn a little bit about Delenn and how she's like, she kind of misses him. Sheridan arrives with Randall, and Garibaldi just shuts up real quick. Actually, what happens was Lanier mentions the captain, and Garibaldi quickly tries to change the subject. There's no like, oh, let's not talk about that. He just switched to Delenn, and then Sheridan shows up, and he has Randall with him, and the exchange is really cold. He's like, huh, Mr. Garibaldi, I acknowledge that you're there. Oh, hi, Lanier. Hey, my good old buddy, old pal Lanier. How's everything? How's Delenn? How's your time on the station? Do you want to go take a walk at hydroponics and enjoy the the plant life? He's being very cordial. He explains that Randall is there to shoot the station, and instead of thinking that everything is set up for his benefit, he's going to give him to Lanier. Lanier, the most honest person on the station, quote unquote, and he's going to show him around, which actually is a good move, because the first place that Lanier takes Randall is down below. The first place. He's like, all right, well, let's get this part over with. Here is the worst parts of the station. What do you think? Not only here's the worst parts of the station, but here's why. Here are the worst things about the station. They explain the lurkers and down below, but then we also hear that, okay, Sheridan has a work program to turn these people into skilled workers to repair the station and pay them. So that's kind of a cool little exchange. I don't know why Sinclair didn't do that, but I don't know. Maybe it's the necessity of seceded from Earth and then the war, so they needed to have something like that go on. And
Yeah, because I think it was like the regulations for work
yeah,
and what he could give them work for because he works for EarthGov.
yeah,
So he can't provide that type of work unless like he did it. He maybe like talk other people into doing it.
yeah. It is an interesting thing, but what it does, it shows the contrast that Sheridan is trying to mitigate these problems, and he's being creative about it. And that I do connect with Sinclair. Sinclair was creative. Sheridan is creative. While they're down below, they encounter Franklin, and Randall is like, hey, I want to talk to you. He's like, oh man, I'm busy right now. Someone just had a cardiac arrest. So he's with a patient that's having a heart attack right now, and dude stops to have an interview.
How do you not see someone in the stretcher and move out the way? Like, He's
Right.
going to it.
Right.
That's what the news does.
I mean, yeah. Maybe the patient was stabilized and Franklin was comfortable because he was like, oh yeah, we're a little busy down here, but yeah, I got time to talk. And then he gets a call about the cryogenics chambers, and then that's where we get to see the first little freeze frame, and it's a signal to the audience who are watching the episode, like, pay attention to these words because this is going to be important later. We quickly shoot back to the Zocalo, and we get to see Sheridan being confronted by Malari. What Lando is doing, he's complaining about how cold his quarters are, which, wow. I mean, let's talk about Lando for a second. He's on Babylon 5, essentially hiding, responsible for the assassination of the Centauri Emperor, responsible for the death of his good old buddy, old pal, Lord Riva, responsible for the destruction of Narn homeworld, responsible for the entire Shadow War itself. He's rightfully in hiding. He's like, I need to stay away from that throne. But when he's back on Babylon 5, bro is complaining about how cold his quarters are, and he's throwing a temper tantrum.
Thought he could be comfortable in his hiding.
Right. And here's the thing. I wouldn't talk to Sheridan like that if... Remember when Sheridan yelled at Lando about starting a war? Yeah. I'm like, bro, when you walk around me, you better lower your voice. Because I mean, granted, yeah, Centauri Prime is right there. However, we have a fleet of multiple alien species. You need to pull that bass out your voice, son.
Well, that makes me think like they wrote this story to do the reverse thing. It's like, okay, can we make Look fuss at Sheridan and he not like be concerned and he acts submissive, or we can spin it to make him look submissive, because him just ignoring him and not taking him seriously at all can be, if you put the right sound effects behind it, it makes it look like he's being submissive.
Right. Yeah.
Someone else he would have been concerned with, he would have been looking in the eye. He's ignoring him like he's got his head down.
Yeah. We get the freeze frame where Lando is pointing and like wagging his finger in Sheridan's face. And it's a small thing because Sheridan doesn't take it serious at all, but like, again, freeze frame, the audience need to pay attention to this because that's some nonverbal communication that's going to communicate something completely different later.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have those brief little interactions, and now it's time for us to look at the ISN broadcast. And I mean, you had to know this was going to be a hot mess, right?
Well, yeah.
And so, back in it's in the office, right? Or wherever the officers go to eat, because apparently Sheridan's there with his food. Ivanova's there with her food, and they're like, we're going to watch the broadcast. And he's talking about how everything that they've done was to prevent them from manipulating it so they can look bad. And, as best that they can get the truth out there, even though they know they're going to be manipulated. This stuff is going to be twisted, but we did our best. And
yeah, it's like, let's see what they do with what we have. We gave them.
Right.
They're really good at their job, apparently.
This broadcast reminds me of how people have been using AI lately. Even though it's still bad, but people are using it to try to show you shocking things and manipulate real life stuff and make it look slightly different, or the thing that happened didn't happen. Anyway,
yeah,
we can probably talk about that near the end of this episode. So Sheridan is like, the broadcast is about to start. We'll turn it on. knowing our luck, it'll go to commercial. And during the broadcast, like the live broadcast of the show, that's where a commercial break is scheduled to be. And it was a funny little meta joke. And I also do find it annoying that 200 years in the future, we still got to deal with commercials. Yeah.
200 years in the past, we had advertisements too.
Yeah.
It just, as long as you have capitalism, you're going to have.
Right. It's going to be an ever present and invasive piece of our life. Yay, capitalism.
You don't have commercials in Star Trek. They don't have TV in Star Trek. It's like you ask the computer for what you want to see.
The only time that I've seen TV was probably on Voyager, and they were like, "Hey, we getting these signals from this planet," and they end up watching like daytime TV of whatever planet that was.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's kind of weird.
They were observing a planet's culture. It was research.
Yeah, yeah. Serious research is happening. They watch movies though. Well, kind of, because was it Tom Paris? His holodeck program was like, I can't even remember the name of it. Captain Proton. Yeah. Yeah.
But that was more like streaming, I guess. But then there was no commercials.
Yeah, true. It'd be wild. Yeah. It'd be wild if they do that in lower decks, where it's like Ferengi holodeck programs that have commercials in them. That would be so.
Yeah, cool. That's what I was thinking, Ferengi, when you brought that up. Like, and they do sell holodeck programs.
Yeah. So we watched the broadcast, and it is terrible. Like, it's a hot mess. Well, it starts off with ISN, and we have the ISN anchor that she's a black woman, but she's using a very strong broadcast, I guess, dialect with the over enunciation of everything to the point that it's annoying, where it's like, oh God, I really don't want to see this person. Right.
It was really cartoonish.
So they do the current events, and they talk about the history in, I guess, this year in history or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. One of the news updates is about what they call it. Territory was liberated on Mars, and there was like New Vegas and this other territory. And to celebrate, we're gonna have 2 extra hours curfew. So you people get out there, and it's like in a war zone. Is that what we doing? And they shared just like a very small part of the broadcast on that. And this reminded me of how certain conflicts in the world today are reported on. Russia, Ukraine has been a big topic, but they're not talking so much about it right now. I wonder why. Israel, Palestine, and of course, Iran and Israel right now. With Iran and Israel, we only hear about them shooting missiles back and forth, but we don't know really what else is going on. It's just like, oh, they got hit. Oh, they got hit. They got here. They got hit here. But like with the Palestinian conflict, we have TikTok and lots of social media where people are on the ground showing you like, this is what is happening to us, and this is awful. We need help.
Yeah.
There's also Yemen, and those conflicts, Syria. There's a lot that's going on, and we don't really have updates, and so we're just kind of beholden to what the news says. Along with a lot of journalists just being killed for reporting the news. So that's what this kind of reminds me of. And then
so it's not a new thing.
Oh no, it's not a new thing. And this next part is also, this reminds me of the Iraq war going back to like 2003 and a little bit after, where there is, well, actually it reminds me of a couple of things too. So the character's name is Lee Parks, and he is giving a confession to the camera, and he looks like he's reading a thing, and he looks like he's been tortured. and he basically gives up the names of other actors. He's an actor. He's in the entertainment business. He gives up the names of 3 other actors and says that they are agents that are being influenced by aliens and are traitors to Earth. And then when that whole scene was over, they said that he's going to be remitted to a psychiatric hospital so he can later become a model citizen or like a productive citizen of society. And it makes me think, oh, they're going to kill him now, or
give him a or
yeah, give him the psycho. And this also reminds me of McCarthyism, where you just accuse people of having communist connections or influence, and then you just like ruin their career. Do you remember? You know, when people talk about cancel culture and how toxic it is not a new thing. Yeah. Back
right
in the early,
the term,
yeah, the term is new, but the idea is old, because one, it's not a thing. It really isn't a thing for people on the left. It's for a thing. It's like people who are in power. It's like, if you got communist influence, you don't deserve to work. And then we also need to put you in jail. In the early days of Hollywood, guys like Charlie Chaplin and several other actors were blacklisted. See, that's what it was called back in the day. You were blacklisted.
They still blacklist people. But like, if Hollywood blacklists you, then you people won't hire you.
Right.
If the social media counsels you, the Hollywood can still hire you, but will the people actually put their money there is a question.
Right. And I'll share my criticism of cancel culture altogether. The whole canceling thing, number one, that whole idea was stolen from black people. It saying that someone is canceled is, think of, you have a subscription service to cable and you're not seeing anything that you like. You're not using anything you like. So what you do is you cancel your cable. Therefore, you're not getting any money from me. You're not getting any attention from me. So that was laid over on people in media, in entertainment, before it became like this cross mainstream thing. It was, black people canceled older or former influences. And, largely for just dumb reasons. Like, we don't listen to this person. Why? I don't know, because their hair is old. They're canceled. But there's also the racism thing in the early aughts and mid aughts. People who were blatantly racist and caught on social media, like, oh, we're going to cancel you because you're a racist. And so they would run a campaign to get a person, fired, even though they was like, here's what the person did. We don't think your company is about this thing. What you gonna do about it? So there's that. The other major criticism of it is people keep saying like, oh, it's about accountability. You can't really have accountability if you're not part of a community, and it's not accountability if there is no path to restitution or reparation or restoration. So it's like, okay, a person gets canceled for being racist, or a person is canceled for not even sexual abuse, but for being a sex pest, right? That's happened to some comedians, and it's like, oh, leave him alone because he's a sex pest, even though he didn't abuse anybody and there was no sex. It was just kind of like an implied situation. But there's no like, hey, you should learn about this thing, have better information, and have better behavior. And also also apologize to the people that you harmed. No, it's just like, oh my God, this person's a creep. We should totally ruin his life. And it's kind of like, but at what purpose? Is it just to punish someone, or is it for overall safety and everyone's knowledge? It typically is not.
Well, the aspect of that where it comes to separating the artist from the art, and some people don't believe people can do bad things and still do good things. Like, that's called being human. There's nuance. There's nobody's perfect, and you expect your celebrities to be perfect, is irrational. It's kind of like, for me, it really kind of hit with Marilyn Manson because I really like Marilyn Manson's music. Like, we can't listen anymore because he's crazy. And I'm like, when was he not crazy?
Right. Right. The thing with Marilyn Manson, I really don't know what he did. From what I understand, he's accused of some sort of
He
abuse.
basically people. Yeah, I mean, like, he's a bad example. 'Cause what he did was beyond. Let me think of somebody who's not so horrible. Tim
Jonathan
Burton,
Majors. Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors. Yeah, that was all speculative, and I think with like Tim. Oh, understand Tim Burton's issue a little better. Like, they don't like what he did with the art, despite the fact that he has fans that like his art. He doesn't like
Uh,
show them in a good light. And he said that he has people that are good for what he wants. And some people are like, well, he's only hired a lead black actor when he was the villain, and it was Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson knows how to play a villain. I'm sorry. He can be a good guy, but he is good at
what
yelling at people, cussing at people. If
what
like,
movie
and
was
then
that?
at the other, Glass? No, not Glass.
Oh yeah. No, that's not Tim Burton. That's M Night Shyamalan. But yeah,
Tim Burton is somebody else. Yeah,
yeah,
no, Tim Burton did the kids. There was some kids movie that I didn't see of Tim.
yeah.
But at the
I
same time, it's hard to say that for. I'm going to. Somebody gonna cancel me for this. Yes, I'm goth. Shut up. Um, I'm telling on. So with Tim Burton, he 90% of the time only casts like consistently 3 people in his leads. Like, he's maybe got maybe not 3, maybe like 6 people that are consistently leads in his
oh yeah,
movies.
yeah.
And when he has anyone else leading in his movies, they somewhat look like those people. And for me, I don't necessarily think it's always that they have to be white. I think they always have to be Johnny Depp and Johnny Depp associated, or look be
They
like, you just have to. He's just obsessed with Johnny Depp for whatever reason.
because he's weird
Like,
looking. That's why.
even in the cartoons,
Yeah.
the main character looks like freaking Johnny Depp. Like, he's obsessed with using the same actors. Like, I noticed that when I was watching. I rewatched Sinners,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, he just really works well with Michael B. Jordan.
I
Like,
mean, yeah.
it's other you do with Michael B. There are directors that just like certain actors, like certain looks of actors. They may have other actors in their stuff that kind of look like the actor that they usually use. Like,
It's like
I
Martin.
it,
It's like Martin Scorsese and Matt Damon. So
uh huh.
you find your actor and that's your guy for 10, 12, 15
And it's
years.
not like, and then the redeeming part was like, he turned around black characters and Latino characters, and they weren't shown in a light other than anybody else. And yeah, you could say in, what was it, Wednesday, that the black girl that they show was kind of a villain. And I'm like, everybody in this show is kind of a villain. She's
Right.
just like everybody else.
Right.
He made her equal,
Yeah.
and not even truly equal, because she's like the most popular, can't do anything wrong girl in the popular girl.
Yeah.
So he tried. he thought
But
he saw that you guys had an issue with something, and then he tried to fix it. And that's what we can expect from people. I think that was the point. That was
yeah.
supposed to be the point.
Yeah.
It took too long to get.
I think and you know, I'm comparing this to cancel culture as far as like the McCarthyism and whatever they're doing in Babylon 5. It's when you take, it's a combination of things. People have an assumed sense of morality than they think everybody else has, but it's not like a principled morality. It's more connected to a sense of identity politics. And if you violate that in one, then that means you're violating it in the other, and therefore you are a bad person morally, and we need to punish you.
Yeah.
This is definitely a topic we should spend some more time talking about. on our side missions and look at how it's handled in different types of media, because there's a lot of things that going on. You know, we're both nerds. I like a lot of nerd content, and I've been consuming a lot of blurred content, and I don't think that everything has to be racially equal as far as like what types of stories are being told and who's in them. But I think that when there are stories being told that have black leads, that have women leads, that have non-binary leads, we should look at those as what they are, which is many of them are coming from a very specific perspective, and they are telling specific types of stories. And to dismiss them, that's the part that's wrong. That's the part
Right.
that is unequitable. We should have media literacy and think critically about these things. But we have a whole mainstream audience and mainstream media that's like critical thinking. What? No, don't do that. All right. The next thing is what you brought up is the history, where it says this day in history. I like how they pointed out the first person to orbit Earth was a cosmonaut in 1960s. We had Bill Clinton in I forgot what it was, that initiative in the 1990s. And
The
then
future in it.
yeah, something like that. But then we go forward in time, which this is the future to them.
Yeah.
E5 history.
It's the past.
Yeah. 2018. This is what kills me right now. 2018 was the foundation of Luna colony, being laid down in the Sea of Tranquility. And oh my God, we have not been back to the moon.
Have we at least drawn it on a map from here? Like, do we can have some blueprints. We drew some blueprints, or we got AI to do it for us.
And then 2161, Psycor is founded, and I'm just like, oh, they just had to tell you about Psycor. I wonder why. Are they trying to condition us to like Psycor? Probably.
Or maybe like they're just cementing it a little more as a part of the world building.
Yep. So, we finally get to Randall's broadcast. We get to Randall's story, and it is hilarious because he takes everything that we saw and completely twists it, and he's weaving this narrative that not only is Babylon 5 bad because humans live in squalor and down below, which is where Lanier took them first. But high-ranking aliens live in all like the good quarters and the good parts of the station.
Mm-hmm. Where like when they were doing the original shot where Lanier is showing him down below, there are aliens walking past them.
Yeah,
they just decided to let them all out. So this is just very deliberate.
Yeah.
Deliberate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so the overall story is high-ranking aliens kind of run the show. Sheridan appears to be subservient to them. And this is where we don't have any of the sound of what they're saying, but this is where Londo is wagging his finger in Sheridan's face. He claims that the aliens call the shot. Dissenting voices are put down and they are disappeared on the station.
That is a reflection.
Yeah.
Or projection.
And they got that doctor to kind of like offer an outside view. This kind of reminds me of a little bit of some of the editorials or maybe 60 Minutes, but he claims that Earth Minbari War survivors tend to have a inferiority complex. And so Sheridan might be suffering from this. And he uses the terms, he says, it's similar to the Helsinki syndrome. I think they're talking about Stockholm, where the captor develops feelings and a close connection to the. He also mentioned how humans, when they first met the Centauri, they turned away from their human beliefs, their Earth beliefs, and took on alien beliefs. And it's funny that they're saying it in this context because in season 1, Garibaldi does insinuate that, yeah, when the humans met the Centauri presented themselves as gods. Humans didn't think that they were gods. The Centauri were like, yes, we are your gods. So it's kind of funny.
You.
Right. We get to see the brief call where I think it's actually Franklin gets the update about the cryogenic chambers, and Randall is like, pay attention to this because we're going to come back to this later. And he's talking about like, what is the Rosetta Stone, the key to this interesting situation that's going on with Sheridan. And then we get to see a little bit of the Minbari cruisers floating outside of the station. He's like, please, let's pay attention to this because this might be a key to what we're looking for. He claims that the alien worlds are benefiting from taxpayer money because he says Delenn and Sheridan built a large fleet, and it is basically at the cost of Earth taxpayers with the ships that are getting repairs done. Remember, Lanier said the repairs are being done to the non-aligned world ships or the alliance ships. They're paying for the materials. They are paying for it, but they're not paying for the labor, which, okay, it's kind of a little compromise. But Randall is like, no, they're not paying for anything. Humans are subservient.
Yeah. They're being the alien slaves.
Yep. And then he points out the weapons upgrades that the station had gotten right before they broke away from Earth. And I thought that was funny too, because they didn't want those weapons upgrades. Earth was like, you're getting these upgrades. We're going to put some guns on your station. Pretty funny.
They're supposed to be, and now they're using it against them.
Yep. Then we see the Delenn Sheridan interview, and this was pretty funny because when they first were being interviewed, it was like, hey, what if people don't accept you for who you are? And Delenn was like, if they don't understand, we will make them understand. Sheridan was accusing Clark of making people who don't agree with him disappear. But when Randall shows this, he removes that whole part about Clark, and he's just like, he piggybacks off of what Delenn says, like, we'll make them understand. And then Sheridan says, if people aren't in line, snap, they just disappear. They also insinuate that there's going to be a conflict with Earth. All of this is complete manipulation of the actual interview. I thought it was pretty funny. And then we get to see Garibaldi expressing his concerns about Sheridan's behavior and how he has a possible God complex. Like he hasn't been the same since he got back from alien space, which that's wild that Garibaldi's using that terminology because he never did before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Especially since he knows that they're trying to since they're pro-human. It's like, well, he was with the aliens and now he's weird.
Right. Yeah. And then we hear about there's an imprisoned population of humans. They step out of line. They get taken away by medical personnel and put in the cryo chambers. Then there's the insinuation. They don't really say it, but there's the insinuation that Babylon 5 is prepared to attack and fight Earth. And we get a little bit of Franklin being questioned by Randall. And this is where Franklin denies the use of the cryo chambers. And I feel bad for Franklin because he's supposed to keep it a secret, not because they're using them for humans, but they got these telepaths that nobody knows that they're there. You got to keep it quiet.
That's part of the shadow war.
Yeah.
And they have evidence that there was a shadow war. Like, y'all could tell people, but then they probably think they used AI to make it. Haha.
Right. Oh my God. We get back to the psychologist. His name is William Indiri. That's who the guy was talking about. He has that inferiority complex. They use the term Minbari War Syndrome, and that people with Minbari War Syndrome may desire to become aliens themselves. And they hint at Delenn's transformation being the result of this syndrome, and that Sheridan may be interested or hatching a plan to turn all humans into half Minbari, which I said this off the air, but that's just such a cartoonish supervillain plan that is like, what? It's unbelievable. But then here we are. We're in 2025 and people believe all kinds of cartoonishly stupid stuff. Well, we were talking about Sheridan being affected by his personal loss of the family farm being burned down. His parents are still missing.
So he's bringing up something that the administration has done, but making it look like it's Sheridan doing the wrong and not the administration, even though clearly he's doing something wrong based on what the administration.
Right. And it's like his one little contribution to be like, see, this is my good faith. This is my good faith gesture to share with you that, hey, here is some stuff that's going on that you don't know about.
How much good faith are you trying to show in contrast to how bad it is? Like, is it really that bad that you made that expose look like we starting a war just for you to tell me that your people are missing? Right.
Right.
Accuse me of starting a war against my people in order to tell me you could say like that it's fucked up over there.
Right.
You didn't have to be like a conspiracy to change us all into humans and start a war. Like, it's just like he could have went with, he likes the aliens more than he likes the humans, but yeah, he went really far with that. So it's kind of hard to tell. Or is he hinting at that in order to scare him?
I think it's a combination of both, but also at the end, he's like, I don't want you to think that you gotta hate Sheridan. I don't want you to think that he's a horrible person. He's a person that's troubled. He needs our help. He needs to come back home.
Which also goes with that whole, we need to make the people think what we want you to think. So if we tell you, oh, somebody is crazy for thinking something different,
there you go.
Maybe you'll think you're crazy for thinking that and keep yourself from thinking it. Because, oh, I can't think that. I would be crazy.
Yeah. And that's the whole blacklisting cancel culture thing that comes from the media and the mainstream. So it's pretty interesting, but he does have some slight, well, you could say is useful information for Sheridan, but it also could be like a trap being set. Like, Sheridan, you got to go home so we can capture you. You know? So,
yeah.
But
that happens a lot too. Like indoctrination. Like, you can't think outside of what we tell you, or you're crazy, or you're evil.
Yeah. So after all of that, Randall ends the broadcast, and he's basically saying, like, you know, they got this fleet. They're trying to turn everybody into aliens. Sheridan is mentally unstable, but we can accept him back. But it also insinuates like he needs to change his ways and his way of thinking to be pro-Earth.
The other guy that got interviewed that looked like he was terrified and been tortured.
Oh yeah.
And going to go get medical attention for his way of thinking. That's probably what they're doing to Sheridan. They're like, but you're sick. Let's help you.
Right.
And he never shows up again, or he's not the same person.
Right. And they have literal thought police with the Psychor. So it's a really interesting broadcast. It's a bunch of lies, and it pisses Sheridan and Ivanova off. And it's interesting because, like, the last scene, nobody says anything. It's just a lot of action. Ivanova leaves the room. Delenn consoles Sheridan for just a second, but also leaves. And Sheridan just like marches up to the television and turns it off, and the episode ends. It leaves us with a sense of, okay, remember how episode ago we won this war and we were happy? Well, all of that's gone. Because now we have a big problem with Earth. And with this broadcast, we seem to be on Earth's radar again. I wonder why.
And like with a broadcast like that, we just got dumped an enormous amount of information about the perspective of Earth. And you need to close that with where you started from, them watching it. But adding any more information to that would have been overload. Like
Yeah.
the news broadcast was almost over. Like they didn't have to add like the things in history or what's up happening now.
Right.
Like they could have just showed the broadcast and then they could have added more. But I think they were nice little tidbits that they added for the world building what's going on now. The history thing was a big world building thing because
Yeah.
we're establishing where we are from what, and they clearly they could have did that somewhere else, but to make that last scene as meaningful without adding any information was really
Yeah.
really good. It would have been not obnoxious if they would have had dialect.
True. Because I feel like they've had that before when ISN, after it was taken down and then brought back, they were like, oh man, you know, they had their moments to comment on it. And they were just like, well, we're not watching this right now. But I like what it's saying about government propaganda. A right-wing authoritarian governments, like really using media in a hard way to sway people's opinion. Even if people don't believe it, it's like, well, this is the story and you just got to go with what we got. Otherwise you got nothing. Right.
Mm-hmm. Like even if you don't believe it, it'll still scare you.
Yes.
So it's still the job.
And then I don't know for sure if J. Michael Straczynski was making a comment about media literacy and how like these are things you can't take everything you see even on news broadcasts at face value. You have to understand that it is coming from a perspective that is trying to convince you of something. And then if you understand government propaganda, just think about the regime that is in control and what type of narratives they would like to spin. It's funny because in our country, people on the right and people on the left are like, oh, the government is spinning the media. This is government propaganda. We are in a capitalist country. Everything you see on TV is to be consumed and to convince you of something. All of it is propaganda.
Right.
Some of it is propaganda you don't like, but also you need to recognize the propaganda that you do like and understand what's going on.
Because like even most people don't understand, and I at one point didn't understand this too, that documentaries are not to inform.
No.
They are commercials. They're giant commercials.
Yeah.
They're convince you of things. And because they act like they're just doing journalism stuff, but they're really just showing you what they want you to see.
Right.
And but people feel like it's supposed to be the honest truth. And it's only the honest truth. But how much of anything can be truly objective? Unless it's just hard science and you're only showing what has been peer reviewed.
Right. Yeah.
It's still going to be an amount of bias in anything. And a lot of people don't know how to be honest enough with themselves to know when they're being biased and when they're stating a fact. And then also, if you're saying the fact, where did that fact come from? Who told you? Where did you find it?
Right. And that's the thing. It's like without critical thinking, without tools for research and to critically analyze any piece of information, all you have is a story. And then the way the story is told is usually to affect your emotions. People, if their emotions are engaged strongly, then they will believe in a thing without knowing the truth and without looking further. And that's what a lot of propaganda, especially like wartime propaganda, like or honestly right wing media, right wing propaganda is about making people angry or afraid, and without giving a bunch of nuance. And if you research things, you find the nuance, you realize like maybe this isn't a thing to be afraid of, but maybe we need to know more about it so we can actually make a decision on it. But also media moves so quickly that people don't give themselves time to think about things. And so a lot of times people just go with the narrative and they They don't spend time to think. They don't think critically so they can make informed decisions. And
Right.
yeah.
Well, I compare it personally to my experience with religion. Like, don't question it. Don't look into any others. If you look into other religions, it's bad. Um, but then when I let that go and started studying what do these other religions that I was told were bad were doing, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. Why did they tell us this was evil?
Right.
Like, I didn't have the other side of the story to know what it was that I was rejecting,
Yep.
because the cognitive dissonance was very strong right there.
Yep. And so we end the episode with a lot to think about, and it's kind of, I don't know if this is like a reboot of the season, but it kind of resets where things are. And we've brought to the forefront Earth, what's going on with Garibaldi and this conspiracy against Sheridan. So we got a lot of ground to cover, and this is only episode 8. So it's almost like starting a new season. We have a new focus and a new direction. And this is actually, it's not going to be like fun as in like adventurous fun, but it'll be fun as far as like discovering the secrets, because this is no longer a war epic. This is now kind of like government espionage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, no more spoilers. Let's get on out of here. Do you have anything cool you want to share before we get out of here?
You can find my YouTube, Bells Rebellion. You can find my website, Bells Rebellion, where you can find a link to my book, Unreading the System. And I'm also on other social medias like TikTok and Facebook.
And I'm Legendary Black Lion. You can find me on Instagram. I'm still threatening returning to TikTok. I just got to get my life together. But you can find Voices in Hyperspace on Facebook and YouTube, and Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of those fun things at Voices in Hyperspace. Continue following us, share with your friends, and let's keep the conversation going. And until next week, we'll see you out there.